Hello everybody, this is DuncantheDM. Just here to make a video to tell you about the game that we have going on for the Age of Rebellion Fantasy Flight games. I've been running it for about 14 sessions, and it is the Misfortunate MPs campaign that I'm running. In this game, all the characters are playing Imperial characters. We felt it'd be a nice twist since we've been playing good guys for a while. All of the characters that have been sent to Teneris, which is a Coruscant-like world, and they are all assigned to the police force. They were all assigned to this because they had something in their past that caused them to lose their position and now have to work here as punishment. So this was the theme for our campaign. One of the players also asked to try to tie in stuff from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is a TV show. So I watched that, and we have a couple tie-ins so far. Some of the NPC characters, more will come as we keep going. If you haven't watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you may see some of the tie-ins. For the characters and players in our game, we're going to be back up to 4 soon. 2 have been on my previous games. Philip, he is playing Lucen. He's a spy who became addicted to spice when he was working with the Hutts. Being unfit to continue his spy missions, he was reassigned to this MP assignment. The second is Daniel. He also played in our Force and Destiny game. His character is Elson. He is a bodyguard for an Imperial officer. The Imperial officer that he was protecting refused to pay for gear that was needed for his platoon in order to help his bonus. Elson, seeing this, went in and forged the signature for the commander to get the supplies needed for the platoon, but he was punished and sent to this world to serve in a police function. One of the new players is Paul. He joined us during this game pretty early. He is playing a marshal who lived on a Outer Rim world serving for the Empire. He lived in a spot that was very corrupt. One day, a new politician came to town, and he tried to shake them down for money. Unfortunately, this politician was one that was trying to clean the place up, and immediately had him sent off the planet and to this assignment to work as a police. Our 4th character is playing a Twi'lek, who's going to be introduced in this next game coming up. She's going to be also working for the police. We didn't come up with a reason why she has been sent here, but it will probably be that she's not officially the Imperial, but hired by one of the commanders to help out. As for the missions that they've gone on so far, the first one, with Lucian having addiction to drugs, we felt to include that in the game. So the first one, they are on floor 173 of this Coruscant-like world, and there was a sergeant who was murdered, and they had to go investigate this. During the investigation, they found out that he was creating a new drug that was hitting the market, and he got killed to increase the profits by the gang who was distributing the drug. While on this mission, they ran into different gangs on the floor they were on, and worked through to find out all the information that was needed. In the end, they reported that the officer had indeed created this drug and set up the distribution. Making sure to try to get rid of all the evidence, Commander Gleason, who's in charge of floors 170 to 175, ordered for all of the gang that was distributing it to be dealt with, as well as for the scientists who created it to be arrested and for all of his materials to be confiscated. For the second mission, we decided to use the past of Elson as a bodyguard. There was an Imperial officer who was coming to see how the floors were being ran, make sure everything was being handled okay, to determine how much Commander Gleason would get for taking care of the floors that he is responsible for. Commander Gleason knows this is an old school Imperial officer who prefers to see the trouble versus just hearing the trouble or reading about the trouble. So he gave Elson and Lucen credits to go cause trouble for the trip when the Imperial officer was being escorted through. Commander Gleason was responsible for floors 170 to 175. So the group had to take him through these floors. The group found out about different gangs on each of the floor, what they did to make money, what their size was, and they decided for entertainment, they would start a gang war between a couple of the gangs. They also hired a NPC that they met in their first episode who was a fight promoter to have his fighters come and cause the fight that involved the commander. During this fight, the commander actually ends up shooting some of the people, and a big brawl broke out where Lucen actually ends up killing the fight promoter to make sure the Admiral doesn't find out that this was a staged event for him. They continued on and caused more chaos to the floors, And then in the end, they were recognized for doing a good job escorting the commander through the different floors. The third episode, they received an assignment from Commander Gleason to go down to floor 175 and clear out a factory that was down there. It used to be a hydroponics facility. It was being taken over by a weapons manufacturer that was coming in that is going to produce weapons for the Empire. They did research to find out who owned it, and when they got down there, they found out this facility was way out of shape, had not been used in years. They went through and with it being hydroponics, it was flooded, so they found wildlife in here that they had to deal with. As they continued to explore the building, they found out one of the gangs was using the rat rodents. They had to chase off the gang member who was in there and ended up collecting his data pad to take back to Commander Gleason. So once they had cleared the facility, Commander Gleason ordered the cleanup team to go down and start preparing the facility to be used by the new company. After being successful on the missions that they had and impressing the Imperial officer who they escorted through the floors, they were promoted up to the 99th floor. When they were promoted and got up to floor 99, they met their new commanding officer, who was Lieutenant Theodore Jeffries, a well-built tall black man in a gray Imperial uniform. He is there to represent Terry Crews from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. They also met the two desk workers, Scruffy, who was Sully on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then Hackshaw, who was Hitchcock on Nine-Nine. Other characters from Brooklyn Nine-Nine will appear later on. On their first mission with the 99, they were asked to track down a car thief who was over a chop shop. When I originally thought this, I thought it just would be an attack mission, but they decided to use different methods. They went and found a guy who used to work for this guy, and they boosted a car for him to turn in. All the players hid inside of the vehicle. Once they got to the shop, Lucen and Elson both hid inside of it, while Wyatt, the marshal, waited outside with the actual police force. The guy they were going after hopped in the car that was brought to them, and he was getting away. When Lucen and Elson made their move, it caused the guy to crash, but they were still able to capture him. While that was going on, Wyatt was leading the police into the facility and taking down the guards that were there and recovering whatever information they could to help convict the chop shop and the car thief. From this point on, the rest of the episodes were all recorded. The next one was It's Just a Test. This one is using a Brooklyn Nine-Nine episode where the police team gets invited to a Counter-Strike terrorist, and they end up being the terrorists. This was just a combat-heavy game since we hadn't had any combat in a while. This one lasted quite a while because there was two different missions that they had to go through. The next one was back to the lower levels. The team found out that a drug similar to what they had dealt with before was reappearing on the lower levels that they worked on. Lieutenant Jeffries asked them to go down and investigate this since they had experience with it. They were not really welcomed on the floor by the Commander Gleason. Through their investigation, they found out that Gleason took the information from before, modified the drug, and was redistributing it. Their big challenge was getting proof that he was doing this. They had a whole bunch of leads and a whole bunch of evidence that pointed towards it, but they had no actual physical proof. They continued to try to get this until they were warned by the ISB to stay out of it. At that point, they let it go to the ISB to handle the issue. Now, this takes us to the last mission that they are on, finding the missing container. The ISB told them their findings, that Commander Gleason was distributing the drug. He had it modified, and he hired people from his past to distribute it. This was not approved by the Empire, but the Empire views it as something that may be profitable and helpful for them to continue to fund the war machine. So they decided to bring this on as an Imperial project. They offered it to the team to be members of this distribution ring. Wyatt accepted quickly since he knew it would make him a bunch of credits. Lucen accepted quickly since he knew drugs would be involved. Wyatt was very hesitant on accepting because he felt that continuing to distribute the drugs was a detriment to the society. But was kind of talked into joining that if they are controlling the distribution, then they'll be able to make it better and safer. The ISB also told them that a bunch of the drugs that were produced and being distributed by Gleason were missing, and the ISB believes that they were stolen. The drug had about a 5% fatality rate to non-humans, so there some concern by the team to find the missing drugs, recover them, as well as it would reduce their suspension that they got for fighting with other Imperial officers. This is where we left off. At the end of the adventure, they were at a Bothan bar, the Sweet Cuthroy, where they ran into a madam who was servicing clients, was also giving drugs to help their experience. And they believe she has some of the drugs that they were looking for. This will get you up to date on where we are. Again, our next game is going to be this coming Saturday, which I believe is the 2nd. It will probably be posted on Sunday or Monday the next days for you to be able to watch on YouTube. I hope this has caught you up on the game, and I hope you continue to watch.